the thing is with this group and Avrora and the community, everyone helps everyone. So it's not like a one-man game here. You know what I mean? If I'm not around or Ivan's not around or Carter or Rasa or those individuals, other people can answer our questions. That means we're obviously doing something correct here. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, like I've been trading for 6 years. We're obviously going to go through this. And I've been through groups. There's not a lot of groups like Aurora. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. And that's mainly because the community is very tight. You know what I mean? It's more like a brothership than like an actual community. Everyone's very open. No one's, just saying bullshit to students that gives them the wrong mindset. Everyone's always positive, blah blah. No matter if they're on a losing streak, whatever. And obviously the way it's built is amazing. You get it's very easy to find information through the Discord, obviously. And that's what I was talking with a student last night. Is that's how he liked it. It was very easy to just look up information or go through the channels within the group and find what you need to find.
So the layout is good.
Yeah, the layout he loves. And this is also a newer student. Like he's only been trading for a month, and that's the reason why I wanted to hop on with him.
Yeah.
Because that's like a big part of newer traders. You know what I mean? You want a group that's very, very complex but simple. You know what I mean? And that's the same with the strategy. So that's also another reason why it's very easy to learn from me, Ivan, Rasa, everyone else. Is because these other people picked up on it very quickly as well. The individual I was on live with yesterday, like overall in the past, he's only been trading for a month, right? When he first started, and he told me this, when he first started, he didn't even know what candlesticks were, right? So, and now this man's taking beautiful setups on backtesting, just murdering our exact strategy, and he's understanding it, obviously, with the backtesting sessions that Ivan does, the recorded sessions. He says those obviously helped a lot. Since Ivan has been doing the recorded sessions, he said he just goes through those and watches them 24/7, and it's helped him tremendously. So that's huge. You know what I mean? I've been in the group for 2 months, 3 months. You know what I mean? I connected very well with Ivan, and I've been in this community of trading for, like I said, 6 years. So it's really easy to see a bullshitter compared to like an actual real trader that wants to help people and is profitable, right? And basically that's exactly like how Raza is, and me and everyone else. There's nothing that we need to lie to you about. And that's why I also think, say I did some onboarding calls, blah blah, Raza, Ivan, whatever. We have been connected with Ivan for months, blah blah blah. We know how he is, we know how he talks, we know how he works. He likes to get shit done. He likes, it's about business with him, and that's good. And I think with us having that connection with him, I think these people, even for onboarding calls, would take that to heart.
Yeah. Now, what would you say is the biggest differentiator, right? Because we have there's two entities. There's Avrora, and then there's Ivan, and Ivan is just kind of like the fuel behind Avrora, just on the internal side of things. And you said that there's a lot of bullshitters. Like, where do you see that bullshit? I mean, obviously people lie about, houses, cars, all that shit just to get you interested. But that's like the hook. But once you actually get into that community, you've been in it for 6 years. That's a long time. What's that like one thing that stands out? Like, how do you know? How can you catch bullshit? How can you call bullshit something?
Honestly, it all like comes with time. Obviously, the whole bear situation. You knew, like, just the way he acted, the way he presented himself on the charts. You know what I mean? The man was on the charts, lost 3 times before he actually won. So that's exactly what I'm saying. And then he said he had a profitable day. You know what I mean? It just, nothing adds up. It's very easy to see a non-profitable trader. Now, if a student comes to me and asks me, hey, did you take a trade today? Like, we'll say today, Monday. I'm going to tell them, yes, I took a trade and I took a loss today. Yeah. So I'm going to be transparent. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And that's exactly why a lot of people look up to Ivan, though, is because he'll tell you, I just lost fucking 5 accounts, man. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And then the next day he'll tell you, yeah, motherfuckers, we just bagged 10 accounts. So, like, you know what I mean? It's all, like,
it's a part of the game, bro.
It's a part of the game, bro. It's a mindset. And the whole trading aspect is all psychology. The rest is literally chart work. And that's why everyone looks up to him, because his psychology is on point.
So I think it's very overwhelming for new traders when they come in. Like they don't realize that like chart work is finite. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
infinite.
yeah,
It's not like it's like there's an answer. There is a limit to how much you can know. But really, all it comes down to is psychology. So like, would you say psychology is like the top one factor why traders fail?
yeah, yeah, 100%. That's at first why I failed. Like I said, I've been trading for 6 years. Was I profitable for 6 years? Fuck no, bro. The first 3 years was absolutely hell. Like I probably lost over five figures, like high five figures. Now I was young back then. I was only, 16. And I wasn't doing the smartest decisions in my life at the time, so I wasn't. My psychology just wasn't there. I mean, I was stupid. I was a young kid, dumb. Um, but over time, when obviously I matured and kind of really understood the aspect of what's going on the chart, which is like kind of like a mind fuck, as you could say. Um, it all comes down within your psychology. You're not like the easiest way to explain this. If you see a beautiful setup, SMT inversion, blah blah, but you don't have that psychology to enter it on your own without taking someone's and other person's entry, that's a psychology that is going to ruin your whole trading for possibly years, like it did to mine. Right? Um, it all becomes down in your own trust in yourself and really understanding the way your mind works and your mindset. A addicted mindset's not going to be profitable on this chart. They will never be profitable unless they change somehow their psychology of thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why like people say if it was so easy, why wouldn't everyone do it, right? You
Exactly.
know. So like that's what people don't realize is you have to be like there has to be something special about you for you to
Hmm.
succeed, and that special is just like essentially discipline. If you can
Yeah,
discipline yourself just a little more than somebody else, like that's it. That's the fucking key. You
yeah,
know.
for sure.
That's all that it takes. So now, 6 years is a long time in trading. You've probably like tried all types of shit. You've tried options,
Oh,
I bet. You've tried
yeah.
probably equity at some point when you were just starting. Like, what do you think about futures? What are your
Um,
thoughts on futures?
to be honest, overall, I've been realistically, I started with Forex, right? Forex puts a very bad taste in a beginner's mouth. And then, like, overall, it was hell, right? Till obviously down the line, I figured it out. I became profitable in Forex, and then I changed over to futures for a reason, right? Commissions wise, slippage on brokers, prop firms just not paying you out. I had a time where I requested a 15K payout and never received it. You know what I mean? So that's not going to happen with a Top Step or a My Funded Futures if you follow their rules and be complex with your strategy. Now, with how we work in trade, you can even be very profitable with Apex. You know what I mean? Apex has a lot of different rules, but with the way we trade and stop losses, etc., it's very easy to um, basically use that leverage on that firm, right? So back to your question, what I see in futures is a lot less noise within that whole industry. And that's like obviously the business aspect of it, like the brokerages, the prop firms, and all that, right? Now, obviously, yes, in futures, you're going to have prop firms that aren't legit. Obviously, we've seen that a couple months ago with the one that shut down
Yep.
because they just weren't paying their traders. Um, but when you go with a reputable firm like Top Step and whatnot and follow the rules, you're going to get paid. That's just how it is. Now, on Forex side, that's really how it wasn't. You know what I mean? It wasn't built for you'd almost ever win unless you were on a live brokerage. These prop firms were giving you horrible slippage, horrible commissions. You could hit TP and not even get taken out, and then lose profits, blah blah. That doesn't happen on futures, which I like that a lot. It's game changing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the word strategy a lot, and there's a lot of people who try to sell you like, I have a 100% win rate or like a 95% win rate. You're never gonna
Yeah,
lose
it's
this.
not real.
Right. So, do you think it's better to like chase those hopes? I guess I don't want to call them false hopes, but those hopes where somebody's promising you like this is all you got to do and you're gonna win every single trade, or this is what you got to do and you're gonna like have this type of a P&L in the month. Or should you look for somebody like, for example, Ivan, who is going to be transparent with you, who's going to be like, listen, today we lost five, tomorrow we made 10. And
Yeah,
here's my strategy, IFVG strategy. This is it. Like, if you
yeah.
learn this, you're going to do exactly what I do. There's no like hidden bullshit. Like, is there value behind that? Or is there more value in the hope that somebody sells you with like, 100% win rate?
Well, that's another thing is like a lot of this community is just sold hope. You know what I mean? A lot of these mentors, you could say, are a lot of like they just obviously bullshit to get you to buy into their course and all this their group, whatever. Now, the thing with Ivan is when I first joined his TikTok, right? Obviously, that's how I found him live on TikTok. He was very transparent. That day, I'm pretty sure he took a loss, and he sat there and told you he took a loss. You know what I mean? He showed you the loss that he took and explained the loss that he took. The transparency is what traders actually want to see. I personally won't join or even look at a person that isn't transparent and show losses, wins, win rate, etc. Right? Because a trader's never going to have a 95% win rate or a 100% win rate over time. You know what I mean? Could you pass a account in 2 trades in 2 days, 100% win rate? Yes, of course. That happens all the time. But over time, is that win rate going to hold? No. You know what I mean? If you can realistically, a 65 to like 78, maybe 80 is like a realistic win rate. 80's low key fucking high. You know what I mean? Like more like a 65, 70% win rate is realistic.
Yeah.
And that doesn't like that comes down to any strategy that you do.
Yeah.
There's a million ways to make $1 million in this market.
Well, if you think about it, right? Like if you have $1,000 and over the course of the month your win rate's like 80%, you're still making $300.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
then it comes down to what we talked about earlier about psychology, where like you end up fucking yourself because you're just not managing your money correctly. So
And that's another thing, bro. Like you can have a 30% win rate and still be profitable. Um, it all comes down on, like you said, psychology, RR, your strategy, and how much you actually trust in yourself to keep entering the trade setups that you see and you have confirmation in, right? Depending on your strategy. So it really doesn't matter like win rate wise. It really matters on how you can get in this market without having that mind fuck of like, is this actually going to play out? Because I've had multiple strategies when I first started that at first worked, right? And then over time, it just kind of broke down and like crumbled, right? Now, if I stayed at it, most likely I could have made that happen with a good mindset and good psychology. But that wasn't, and in the time it wasn't working for me, and I didn't have the psychology to sit there and keep losing and actually backtest a strategy that it's not working for me. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So I think that's a huge part, to be honest.
Where do you think that like psychology fuck up comes from though? Like so many people are like so disciplined, they go to the gym, they're like in their own head, they're fully set, and then they actually enter a trade, and it's like you just flip a switch on your personality, and it's a different person.
You got to think, right? The person, not 90% of these people are on prop firms. You know what I mean? So when they get into a position risking $400, $500, that's more than what they made or more than what they have made in possibly weeks. You know what I mean? So they like it's hard for a trader to just get in a position with no psychology because you understand this market's made for you to lose, right? You don't want to just get in and throw $500 and then 90% of these people aren't even getting $500 every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So that's the big psychology is 90% of it is like the income wise. And this is obviously how prop firms make a lot of money off of these people, right? Is because your initial 1% is $500, right? You throwing that $500 right when you get in, their psychology, like now you're second guessing, now you're looking at every single level, which that's not the correct way to do it, right? And that's why I think a lot of people like how we trade, because we have a very complex, structured way of trading and looking at the market. And we also don't need huge moves to make good percents. You know what I mean? But like I would say like the initial start of like prop firms is a very, very touchy spot with people's psychology because of the fact of how much they actually are risking in that trade. Now, I like how Ivan always says it's only $50. You know what I mean? So like you have to think you're not really risking that $500. You have to think you're only risking that 50. And that's why it's a lot easier for your psychology on futures.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go look at forex prices for prop firms, a 100K account, you're talking $400. You know what I mean? So now you actually are risking that $400. But that's the big like green light on these prop firms. People have to understand they're only risking that 50, not the 500.
Yeah, yeah. So you shouldn't really treat that money as like physical money.
Yes,
Although it's
exactly.
gonna land in your bank account if you do
Yes.
shit right.
Yeah.
That's the fun part though, I guess, right? So like you mentioned, the guy that you're sort of coaching right now, the new guy at
Yeah.
Aurora. So like what was your first piece of advice you gave him? Like,
Basically, I really, really talked about psychology.
yeah.
That was the biggest thing that I talked about with them, and understanding that you're going to lose, right? But you need to stick with the strategy and keep asking questions within the group. Everyone will help you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That was my big thing of like kind of pushing to him is the fact that you got a community that's behind you no matter what. If you're win losing, having the best week in your life, you know what I mean? Everyone's still going to be behind you to help you through your trades, through your managing your trades, etc. Um, a lot of people actually ask like Ivan or me or blah blah, what levels are we looking at, or what levels are we looking to manage at, right? And that's what we want, you know what I mean? Because then they can see the levels we're looking at, blah blah, and that comes down to the chart work and etc. Now I also talked to him about because he said he was not doing much back testing, but I really told him to get at least an hour in like a day, because that's really what kind of changed me from like a break-even trader to a profitable trader. And the reason for that is because while I was back testing, I was having an amazing win rate, catching very nice trades, etc. That gives you that confirmation and psychology and like oomph, I guess you could say, to when you're actually on chart to take those trades, because you just did it 30 times last night for an hour.
Yeah. Now, do you think that like the framework that's set up in Aurora right now, so we have ground zero, right,
Yeah.
which is kind of designed to like get you up to speed. Do you think we have enough to get people, going without just the lives? Like, if you don't want to join the lives, if you just want to use the resources that are available, do we have enough right now, or do you think we could use more?
I think personally for newer traders, now I'm talking like they've only been trading for a month, right? They barely know what a candlestick is. I think it doesn't need to be nothing insane, you know what I mean? Like a small 30-minute, maybe even broken up in 3 videos, 10 minutes each, a small like start of a breakthrough through Aurora, and then kind of like a breakthrough of like newer traders, kind of explaining what we do, what we're going to show you over time, and even like maybe the last video just go through a little bit of like the candles, market structure, just small things. And then the rest really is just in the group, to be honest with you. Like the rest is very well structured. I know the student I was talking to, he said he loves the fact that the journals are like you can see people's journals.
Yeah.
He said he looks at those all the time and loves the fact that he can go back to them, see how people are um, executing, exiting, managing their trade, etc. Because just looking back on that, he basically can see that it is possible, and people are doing it in our group. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the most important like personality trait you think somebody should have if they want to succeed at trading? What's like the one thing you have to have, like hands down, you have to have it?
Um, you need to be open to learn. I learn every day, bro. Like I said, I've been trading for a very long time, but I still learn some stuff off Ivan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you need to be open to learn. You need to be open to ask questions, and you need to be open. You kind of just need to be like an open book, right? Um, it needs to not really like don't feel um like that it's just you and the journey. It needs to be like your mindset needs to be open to how you can learn, right? You need the journal, etc. So really just like an open mindset is like huge within Aurora and just futures trading in general. Because every day you're going to learn something. You know what I mean? This market always changes. It always does something different than we've seen every single day. You don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's like you just need to be able to learn and easily be teachable is the easiest thing.
Do you think futures are the most efficient market to trade right now?
Yes, and the reason for that is because Trump's in office. Obviously, personally, I don't know if you were trading back in when he was previously in office,
Oh yeah.
but it was insane. It was nuts. Um,
Yeah, like not politically speaking, just from a general like financial standpoint, shit's just green when Trump's in office.
yeah, it's just crazily, it's just up. You know what I mean? But not even so. We'll say like take Trump out to like perspective. I think over time, right, most of these people in the group are only trading 1 to 2 pairs, so either NQ or gold, right? That's the biggest thing right there, because people back in the forex industry were trading Euro USD, gold, NAS, US 30, GBP, JPY, I mean, all these 5, 6 pairs that you don't need, right? If you realistically focus on 1 to 2 pairs and you master those 1 to 2 pairs, you will be a lot more consistent and a lot more profitable, no matter the market conditions, to be honest. And like even in December, right? December, we had, it was rough, but most of the people were still profitable or at least break even, right? Now, with a bad month like that, that's very well like given. You know what I mean? Like you did amazing that month if you were profitable or even break even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you always have to be, like I said, open minded to the charts and how the market moves.
What's the most attractive thing about trading to you personally?
The money and the freedom.
Mm.
Like the freedom is insane. I get on the charts for 2 hours and then I can do what I want in my life. I have 22 hours in the day.
Yeah.
So I can do anything within those 22 hours. And that's like the main goal, obviously, in life. You know what I mean? Obviously, when we get older and have families and all that, I don't want to be working a 9 to 5, not be able to watch my kid play sports or like spend time with my family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest thing. I always kind of like, I don't look for like into the future, but like, because I don't ever want to get caught up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the time when I first like initially told myself this is the only thing that I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life, you know what I mean? Like I'm going balls deep into this.
Yeah.
Like that was my decision right there, and that's the reason for it, is the freedom, to be
Do
honest.
you think it's helpful to like full send it and just like 100% this is what I'm doing? There's nothing else. This is the only way out for me, and then you're just kind of forced to figure it out.
I I don't really agree with it. You should always have like a backup plan, because
Okay.
if this don't work out, then what are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Right.
You always need to. I had a backup plan, but I wasn't like with how I work and my mindset, I kind of like need to get it done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was up early mornings, late, I mean, hours on end on these charts, and that's just because my mindset, though. You know what I mean? Like a different person that can't take losses and can't take the, like punch in the chest kind of 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to be profitable. You know what I mean? Because realistically, when you have scaled up to, say you're max, you got multiple accounts, blah blah, you need to have that criteria to actually be able to make those big profits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it would never really work out if you didn't have that mindset. You know what I mean? You with a good mindset, good like you always want to scale in life no matter what. Um, it kind of took me to that different level to where my plan B wasn't like realistic anymore. You know what I mean? Like I needed to kind of get this done and understand. Um, and that came down to like again psychology and the way that I changed like what I was doing into my day-to-day life. Like you said, discipline.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you have to be able to take a punch to the chest in order to land an
Yeah, bro.
uppercut in the market.
Yeah, bro. Exactly. You got to be able to climb mountains and then get thrown back down them. You know what I mean? Like that's a big part of this game. You're gonna take losses. You're gonna take massive wins.
So that's just
But
it doesn't seem sustainable though. So I mean, like for a lot of people, that would be a turnoff, right? Because like
yeah,
trading would be something that like oh I can do like when I'm 20, when I'm 23, maybe when I'm 25, but then I got to figure some shit out. Like, do you agree with that, or do you think it's something that you can do for the rest of your life?
no, you can do it for the rest of your life. And that's what I kind of learned over my 2, 3 years being profitable. Um, and also my 2, 3 years being non-profitable, right? Because if I kept going with the actions that I was doing, I would just still be non-profitable right now. You know what I mean? For fucking 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I can maintain not being profitable for 6 years, I can maintain being profitable for 6, 7, 8, beyond. But like I said, you need an open mind in the market, because obviously these markets will always change. Um,
Yeah.
Retail traders aren't supposed to win. So like, whales are always going to find a way to kind of make retail traders second guess and blah blah blah. But like overall, I think if you have a structured plan, an execution plan, entry plan, blah blah blah, and complex, overall you can stay very profitable in this market. Are you going to have losses? Of course, everyone's going to have losses. You know what I mean? But overall, I think yes, you could make an insane living within trading.
Is trading gambling?
No. And the reason for that, I could go to play slot machines right now, and all I'm watching is something spin on a screen, right? You have no confirmation of winning that. You have no strategy of how to play a slot machine, blah, blah. I mean, some people might have it, but it's just not realistic to go at a casino. That's like realistic gambling, you know what I mean? Now, with trading, you have a structured strategy and a complex strategy. If you go by your plan, and your win rate say over 65%, 70%, in your own head you should be thinking, okay, out of 10 trades I'm going to win 7, right? So if I take a loss right now, it's fine. I'll take the next setup and whatever, we'll see how it plays out. But you have those confirmations and multiple confirmations to tell you that it should go your way. You know what I mean? So like if I go to the casino, I don't have those confirmations
Right.
that I'm the machine's just gonna fucking blow a jackpot or some shit. You know what I mean? So like it's just not realistic. You don't have actual confirmation there. You have confirmation on charts.
So when you go to a casino, typically you have the best time, quote unquote, when you're with friends, right? Like I don't personally gamble. I don't like.
I
I've
don't
never been to
gamble,
a
bro.
casino. Maybe when I was like 11 in Vegas once, but that's about it. But my point, what I'm getting to is that you go with friends and you have fun because you're with other people and you get to. It's like, you know when they say you can get rich on a remote island and nobody's gonna know
Yeah,
about it, so really your riches don't matter. It's
yeah,
very similar in trading, I feel like, right? And would you say that a community is just as necessary for you not only to feel more successful, but also just to get further in trading? Like,
100%. Because when you like what I like to do, to be honest, I love helping people. You know what I mean? I like to see people's growth and I like to see people succeed. You know what I mean? When I feel like even with newer traders, when they kind of get seen or acknowledged, um, that pushes them to like it kind of lights a fire under them. You know what I mean? Now they kind of like they want to show you more. They want to show you what they can actually do on the charts. You have to understand 90% of like these people in the group are young. You know what I mean? So their parents don't believe in them. Most of their friends aren't believing in them that they can do this. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They feel very comfortable within the group, and when they do get acknowledged, then they're like, "Oh shit, okay, see, I'm doing something right," and someone actually sees that I can do this. You know what I mean? And that's like huge under a trader, because I won't lie to you, bro, trading's lonely as fuck. You know what I mean? Like if you're just trading without a community and all that, it's low-key boring and very lonely. You know what I mean? So when you have people actually behind you and like showing you love and like all that stuff, like giving you congrats and all that, you really get like that fire lit under you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that support is essentially necessary. You're right. You're absolutely right. I love that, bro. And you know, I also I like what you said about like a lot of traders being younger and how their parents don't believe in them. Like that's the thing is a lot of the older generation, they have this idea that you have to achieve something first and then you can be respected. But nobody really
Yeah.
respects you during the journey. And that's
Yeah.
just
No.
the reality of the
Exactly.
world. You know what I mean? And I felt it too. Like you know, I'm a serial entrepreneur, you could say. Like
Yeah.
I had a bunch of businesses and people just don't treat you right. They don't treat you with respect when you're younger. That's just kind of
100%.
the reality of it.
100%.
But at the same time, we're in 2025 where you can be a billionaire before like 25, and that's not
Yeah.
an overestimation. You know what I mean? It's all in your hands, and you're able to achieve it. And without a community that supports you, you just kind of get lost in your dream. Like, yeah, you have this idea that you can do it, but without further, I guess, reimbursement, like further, what am I looking for? Further support from
Yeah.
somebody, you're just gonna lose that dream.
Yeah. No. 100%. And like that was kind of even with me, man. Like when I first started and I lost a shit ton of money in the first like year,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my parents were like, "Man, like, you sure like you actually want to do this?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm not stopping. So unless you lock my bank account, then I'm gonna keep going." But I'm like, my parents didn't believe in me, you know what I mean? Till I showed them like, "Hey, like, you know, look what I just got paid out, blah blah, or look what I've done this week, blah blah." Um, and that's like I mean, it's annoying. It's very annoying. It's kind of sad for new traders, because maybe if they did have the, you know, their friends and even their parents or sisters or brothers, they were like, "Hey, yo, good job. You know, you fucking killed it today." That could possibly change, you know, their success rate.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why this group's amazing, is because everyone is very, very supportive of everyone, no matter if you took a loss. You know what I mean? Someone comes in and like ask you, "Hey, why did you take that entry?" Blah blah blah, and then they'll explain kind of like why they wouldn't have took it, but they would have said, okay, I kind of see what you see, blah blah. So they're not shitting on that person, but they're helping them out at the same time.
What you just said about believing in oneself, that's an insanely like powerful thing, because especially with things like trading, where you're so motivated, you see all these guys succeeding, you see all these guys hitting their wins, and you go into it, and like say you take a win and then you take 3 losses, and then
Yeah,
it's like your belief is just
yeah, yeah.
right
It's
down.
down the
Belief
shitter.
in
Yeah.
yourself, you know what I mean? And that's like the most important thing. Without that, there's no success.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're not gonna get anywhere. All right, Bully. Listen, dude, we're doing an hour here. So don't believe
Bro,
it.
it
But
felt like 30 minutes. Fuck.
yeah. Well, anyway, listen. As the last question, I want to ask you, like, where do you see Aurora in 5 years? But like realistic, imagine 5 years. It's only been alive for 10. Out of those 10, we only actively did it since like I want to say maybe September. So that's like what,
Yeah,
4 months at this point.
yeah.
Where do you see in 5 years?
That's what had me mind blown, to be honest with you, is when Ivan only like when I first joined, you guys were only like had the group going for like
Hmm.
2 months, maybe a month and a half,
Yeah.
and I was like, bro, there's no way. I'm like, there's no way you guys only had this group going for a month and a half, 2 months. Like, there's no shot. I know people that have had groups for a year and have 50 members that don't talk in it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's me, me one of them. You know what I mean? So, fucking, that's when I was like, wow, like, and the thing is, it's the people that are joining, most of them, I would say 85% of them really want to like learn, you know what I mean, and really want to be profitable. And obviously you can see that with the people that are joining every day on the lives, etc. um but yeah, I really think, honestly, I think it's going to go wild. Like, the people that are on the team now are all amazing, you know what I mean, and honestly I think Carter will be like a big aspect of that.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is he's very he's very disciplined, and you can tell that with the way he presents himself, and also even the way he speaks and acts and even eats, you know what I mean? Like, dead ass. So like, he's very disciplined and consistent, meaning that like over time, with a very disciplined and consistent person staying on top of all of us,
Hmm.
is going to be fucking massive,
Hmm.
because that's only going to make all of us want to keep building, 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 adding to everything,
Yeah.
and just making a fucking empire. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Um, Personally, I think the people that are in the group right now are all amazing. Even like even the admins and the support team and all that, they're all great people. You know what I mean? No one is just here to just be a part of it. They want to actually grow. You know, so that's like one of the biggest things, to have a group that is always going to keep building. You kind of can't, like, you got to be super creative. You know what I mean? Um, and that's kind of why I liked when the student brought up the certificates and possible giveaways. It doesn't need to be every week or every month or blah blah. Um, but I think that will keep making Aurora grow, but also bringing in more ideas from even new people. You know what I mean? Um, Down the line in 5 years, to be honest with you, like, the way it's going right now, I think it'll be nuts. Like, to the point where we'll kind of feel a little overwhelmed, to be honest.
It's a good problem to have, man.
Yeah, like, that's an amazing problem. But I really do think that that will happen, because even with Ivan running those TikTok calls and everything, bro, he's bringing in insane people. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
Um, and that's like another thing. Like, the reoccurring, like, you're also like your reoccurring students that have been in here for, since you guys have started it. Those people are always going to talk about you guys. You know what I mean? Those people are always going to talk about the community, Aurora, blah blah. So word of mouth is also huge as well, because when you have someone in the group that is giving advice to other people, they're going to want to see what's going on. You know what I mean? So like, in the next 5 years, it's going to be nuts. Like I said, I personally think it's going to be like, holy shit, like, Ivan's going to be overwhelmed. We're going to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, like you said, that's an amazing thing to have and happen. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be nuts.
Yeah. Well, listen, brother, I greatly appreciate your time.
Yeah, and I
I think
appreciate
the
you, bro.
community is going to appreciate watching this, because there's been a lot of good stuff you've said here
I
today,
am
and
for
people are going to
sure.
have a great time. Like I said, it's going to go up on our YouTube and social media, so you're about to become a
Yeah.
superstar.
No, that's no problem.
Yeah.